Not as young as Eva, but young nonetheless. I feel like YoungYakov has been able to achieve a little bit more in his career as well. I know that he's been able to make it into the group stage of the DreamHack European Regionals. I think that was in 2021. I think it was a couple of years ago. But yeah, YoungYakov has been able to kind of break into the top 32 of the European region. And we'll see how he does here, because his opponent is spawning into the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood, representing Dragon KZ Gaming. It's the Korean Zerg player. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player representing CSO Esports. It is YoungYakov. I'm just seeing in the chat as well. Just don't think about the fact that we could all be his parents. True. Oh, smooch. Aye. Reality sets in when you realize how young some of these players are. YoungYakov, again, not as young as Eba. I want to see he's a teenager. You know what? Let's double check. I remember talking about this the last time we casted YoungYakov, is that at what age does YoungYakov have to change his name to something else, you know? He's 19. Still barely a teenager. Barely. Soon, no longer be young, be old. Old Yakov. Oh. But we are getting into this, and so far, nothing too crazy. Hatch gas pool from Dark. Meanwhile, YoungYakov, if you notice, he's missing something. He's going for a gasless opener. Very greedy stuff here. With this opener, I believe YoungYakov is looking to take a faster third base. Yeah, some greedy stuff here. So obviously, the big thing is that YoungYakov, he will be lacking Ling speed. He'll be delaying his Baneliness as well. From here, I imagine he's going to be walling off on two bases. We can go one of two ways. We can go into a fast third, or we can wall off on two bases, which I imagine will be the more logical choice here from YoungYakov, trying to skip tech and go straight into roaches. We go. Lings are flooding across the map as we speak to try to keep the pressure up. Does force a reaction out of Dark. He's making Lings of his own. He's got Ling speed, as to be expected. Queens are on the way as well. These Lings from YoungYakov shouldn't get too much damage, but ideally they're going to be aiming for these drones. Drones are pulled away in time. The Lings are getting into the main base. They're going to be threatening the spawning pool for the time being, getting some decent damage on it, but the Queens have arrived. And with the power of these Queens, with the power of the defensive drones as well, Dark should be safe and sound, and we can see that here. The Lings are getting picked off. And Dark reacts with a very fast Baneling Nest. I love this from Dark. He has recognized the gasless opener from his opponent, and we can see that YoungYakov is going to be quite vulnerable. Yo, he actually moved on forward, and he sniped a Queen. Sorry, he sniped an Overlord as well. Supply blocking Dark. Dark is supply blocked. He has so much lava that he just can't make use of right now. Finally, the gases are being taken for YoungYakov. Now, I assume that he would be walling off on two bases, but we'll see what he does with this gas. If he does rush into a Baneling Nest, I would really appreciate that, because he's about to be link flooded. There we go. There's that wall off that we were talking about. Dark already having a Baneling on the way across the map. Behind this, Dark is droning. It looks like maybe because of the supply block, he doesn't feel confident in really committing to any kind of all-in. So he's taking his third base. He's going to be droning from here. And after all said and done, I do think that YoungYakov is now in a better position. He's been able to cut some corners. He's been able to drone up quite heavily as well. Now he's taking his gases. And sure, YoungYakov doesn't have a Baneling Nest. Sure, he doesn't have Baneling speed, but we don't need them. Not where we're going. Going to Roach Town. It's a disgusting place. We're going there, Papi. We're going there. Nothing but roaches, Papi. Nothing but roaches. Lings are looking to threaten that wall, and they do confirm as well that upgrades are on the way, that the Queen is in position as well, that YoungYakov is going for a two-base play. You can take a third from here, but we'll see what YoungYakov does with this lair, because he's taking all four of his gases. This could be for a Spire, but the +1 range is giving us a different story. Telling us a different story, even. As there we go, now that we fully saturated on 2 bases, roaches are being produced, and roach speed is on the way. Dark should be checking it. There we go. He does check the wall. He sees the roach horn researching. He now knows that the lair is done, and he now knows that this is going to be 2-base roach. Shouldn't be anything else. From here, Dark is aware that he can drone. He can get away with saturating his bases, but he has to be careful because his opponent is going to have a massive wave of roaches to work with. Dark has to respect that. Up the drone. There we go. YoungYakov is trying to get a 3rd base up and running, but no, the drone does get targeted down. Nice pickoffs by Dark. Gets a tumor as well. Not too bad, as the roaches are now moving out across the map. Looking at the units tab, we have 14 roaches available for YoungYakov, and Dark only has 2. He's making lings as we speak. He's going to be relying on Ravager Ling. He's going to be looking to surround these roaches and connect with those biles. It's a risky move, but it's what he's going for. It's all he can go for. Here we go. It looks like YoungYakov has eyes on the army. He has to be very careful with how he does control here. Lings are going for the surround, and the army is surrounded. The biles will connect with the roaches, and Dark completely shuts this down. YoungYakov didn't realize what was happening until it was too late. And Dark just traded so efficiently. Behind this Dark, he's flooding more lings across the map. We've got +1 range on the way. Has to be careful. You know, we do have a defender's advantage. We have queens as well to help support. Once again, we do have some biles, but the roaches are getting on top of the ravagers. Dark may be overextending a little bit here. Biles will help him in the retreat, and the lings did get us around on all those queens, and they're going for the roaches. Up, up, up. The ravagers get targeted down. The lings are being cleaned up. Initially, it was a good trade from Dark, but this follow-up counterattack, I'm not too convinced by. As we do see Dark behind the economy, still working on his lair as we speak. And Yakov is not in a bad position. He may have lost a decent chunk of roaches, but because he killed those ravagers earlier, like, Dark has actually lost more gas, which is pretty insane, pretty impressive. You see Dark just dancing here with the biles, able to get past them. YoungYakov going for the 2nd wave, and this 2nd wave is going to be that much more powerful. Ravagers are being rebuilt, but do we have enough lings? Can we go for the surround again a 2nd time? Dark is in a little bit of trouble. We do have some queens to defend. We don't have any creep though. Oh, the lings are rolling forward, but we have defensive bailings. Oh no! Ugh. With those bailings, Dark, he can't surround. Not anymore. The bailings, they counter the surround. They counter the composition that Dark has. Bailings are rolling on forward. The roaches, they're trying to focus them down. Only 3 bailings do remain. Lings are going for the surround, but oh my god. The bailings, they find their connections. With the death of those lings, next is going to be the death of the roach ravager of Dark. He just doesn't have enough. He's trying to buy some time. But the production is being camped. The 3rd base is compromised. And YoungYakov is breaking on through. Can Dark, maybe a little bit overconfident earlier, threw away his army in that counterattack, and now he's being punished for it. And YoungYakov, despite the fact that he's up against the best Zerg player in Korea, mate, YoungYakov, he's coming out here with the upset. The Ravagers are being focused on one after the other. GG gets called, and YoungYakov takes game number 1. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. Oh. An insane result here for YoungYakov. Again, initially, Dark had a great reaction, a great response. We saw how he dominated the fight and cleaned up all the roaches initially. And he overextended a little bit. Then he committed to a counterattack, and that's when he lost his lings, he lost his ravagers as well. Expensive losses, especially considering that Dark had a pretty low worker count. And more than anything, he had to kind of back off and focus on his economy and get into a better position and eventually get into Roach v Roach. But impressive stuff. GG, well played. We're going to be getting into game number 2 with YoungYakov leading the series. Wow. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. Wild. Actually wild. The upset is real, and this is a best of 3, by the way. He only needs one more, uno mas. And speaking of, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Neo Humanity, one more loss, and he is knocked out of the upper bracket. He is knocked down to the lower bracket of this insanely large tournament. Oh boy, can he bring it back? The South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Z Gaming, it is Dark. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have his opponent. We have the player leading this series 1-0, representing CSO Esports. It is YoungYakov. And it looks like we got a pause in the middle of that game. Meanwhile, oh my god, YoungYakov is going for a gas first. He's going for the light build. Let's go. So he's going for a 17 gas and 17 pool. This should be into a 16 hatch, but we'll see what he does with this variation. But with this, unlike the previous game where YoungYakov went for a gasless opener, if you remember, into 2-base Roach, this time he's going into very fast Ling speed. Very fast gases are taken. With this, we can go all in, and we can go for a fast Baneling Nest as well and just go for a Ling Flood. This can be very dangerous, especially if Dark misreads the situation. The danger here is that this can look like a pull first opener, and Dark may be active with his Lings, and he may be punished for it as well if he is overzealous and if he is too active with his Lings and gets caught out on the map when Ling speed kicks in for YoungYakov. Speaking of, Ling speed is on the way. We have pulled out a gas a little bit, but not too much, so it looks like we should be going for that Baneling Nest as well. There we go. Lings are headed out across the map. Dark himself went for a standard opener. He went for a hatch gas pool, so Dark has a worker advantage. He does have the economic edge here in this opener, but not the tech edge, as the first couple of Lings are moving out across the map. Behind this, we should have enough for a Baneling Nest, and there it is. The Baneling Nest is thrown down for YoungYakov. Now from here, he should be banking Lings, and we can see that. Lings should be banked up here back at home, and ideally you kind of lure Dark into a false sense of security. Oh, but Dark, he's reading this quite well. He didn't pull out a gas, and he throws down a safety Baneling Nest. Now, there is going to be a window. There's going to be a window where Dark has slow Lings, and he also doesn't have any Banelings. There's going to be a small window that can be taken advantage of, but here we go. Dark, he slips into the main base. YoungYakov was unable to deny the scout, and now Dark knows. There we go. A good reaction. Dark, he's throwing down a Spine Crawler. He now knows that YoungYakov is all in. And now the Lings are flooding across the map. This is a little bit early. YoungYakov would have liked to have kept this hidden a little bit longer, but Dark was very on point with his scouting. The Lings are arriving. The Baneling Nest is already done. Banelings are on the way for Dark. The longer this goes on, the better it is for our Korean Zerg player. Lings, they go first around. They're trying to power down that Spine Crawler. They do get it. They do focus down one of those Banelings. Another Baneling will connect as well, but the Baneling's finished for Dark. Ooh. And Dark defends. He holds. Behind this, YoungYakov is droning. He's trying to get back into this economically, and he has taken a worker lead, especially with those Banelings connecting. He has been able to kill enough workers of Dark, but Dark is going for his own counterattack. Now YoungYakov has to be the defender. Here we go. Banelings are on the way. Dark wants to try to punish the build here of YoungYakov. He gets us around on the Queen, and the Queen will go down. The Queen falls. The Banelings get into the middle line. Ooh. And they take down 5 drones. Unfortunately, YoungYakov just wasn't ready for the counterattack. And this is getting out of hand. 2 more drones get focused down. And more Banelings are on the way. We're waiting. Not too soon. Ooh. As As Banelings do detonate, a couple of the Banelings of Dark did go down. But the Banelings, they still keep on pushing forward. They're getting to the middle line. Oh no! And they managed to get in. Ooh, a little bit of miscontrol there from Dark with that third Baneling, unfortunately. Oh my god! But regardless, he still gets the connections that he's been looking for. Dark is now up 12 workers. He's got a third base on the way, a Roach Warren on the way. He has Queens, he has Lings, he has Banes. He is miles ahead. And YoungYakov, he's got some catching up to do. It's not going to be impossible. Anything is possible with Ling Bane. Like, he can out-control Dark if he goes all in. But it looks like YoungYakov is backing off for now. He's trying to macro up. Looks like he wants to go into mutas. And there we go. Spire is thrown down. We have a very fast lair from YoungYakov. He's throwing down his additional gases as well. Mutas, they can help you get back into this game. Unfortunately, Dark is already here. Dark is not going to let you macro. He's not going to let you tech up into a Spire. This is such a greedy move from YoungYakov. It's such a risky move as well. But Dark is here to end the game. He's here to stop that Spire from finishing. Here we go. The Banelings do roll in. The defensive Banelings from YoungYakov, they do get triggered. Dark gets forced back for now, but we have Roaches on the way. Roaches are waddling across the map as we speak. More Banelings are being morphed in as well. YoungYakov now realizes the danger that he's in. He's throwing down some Spine Crawlers, but he needs more time. Every single Queen is brought to the front lines. Banelings are looking to roll on forward. The Roaches have arrived as well, and they can focus down the Queens. These Lings, they just can't engage. Up. They cannot engage as the Banelings roll on forward, and they connect with the Banelings of YoungYakov. He has nothing left to defend. Only two Spine Crawlers that will not finish. GG gets called, and Dark takes game number 2. Ooh. We have a series. GG, we have a series on our hands. We are tied up 1-1, and it's all going to come down to the ace match. Oh boy. We saw some greed in game 1. Greed in game 1 from YoungYakov. We saw some aggression in game 2. What are we going to be seeing in game number 3? Let's find out. Let us find out, as game 3 will be taking place on Ancient Cistern. And here we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, fighting back in game number 2, putting a point on the board and tying up the series. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Z Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player representing CSO Esports. It is YoungYakov. Oh boy. And this time, nothing fancy. Hatch first coming out from both players. Oh boy. I mean, we are on Ancient Cistern, a far larger map than we've seen so far in this series. So it does lead to more standard play, and there we go. YoungYakov is going for a Hatch gas pull. This is the most standard opener that he has gone for this entire series. And we'll see if he can go toe-to-toe with Dark in a more straight-up ZvZ. Nothing too fancy. There's no gasless opener. There's no gas first opener either. Oh boy. This is where Dark is going to be in his element. It's a bold move. Bold move from YoungYakov, but I respect it. I do respect it. Oh, never mind. I was like, standard openers all around. Okay, we're going to get into some Ling Bane. We're going to get into some Roach Ravager as well. This is going to get crazy. It's going to get even more crazy because YoungYakov is going for a very fast Evo Chamber. This should be for +1 melee. This should be for a Ling Flood. Now the goal here for YoungYakov is to make sure that Dark doesn't scout this. He needs to make sure that the first couple of lings from Dark are going to be sent across the map. Their goal is to slip into the main base and figure out what's going on. YoungYakov has to make sure that his queens are in position, that his lings are in position, and that he can deny the scout. Oh boy. Speaking of, here we go. The first lings are on the way for Dark. Overlord confirms the hatch first. There is +1 melee on the way. Fun fact, +1 melee, if you do go for this build, you spend your first 100 gas on this, then your second 100 gas on link speed, just because melee takes a little bit longer to finish up. So it does more or less line up here for the Zerg. And yeah, the lings for Dark are on the way. Will they be denied? It's so important here. Here we go. Both queens are brought forward. The lings are brought forward as well for YoungYakov. And he does swat away those lings. Now, this is a little bit sus, right? It's like, for two queens to be brought forward like this, it's a little bit suspect. Dark should be, you know, thinking in the back of his mind, what are you hiding right now? Like, why are you trying so hard to keep me back home? As he tries to dip back in, but no, once again, he is denied. Now, what's important is that this Evo chamber has been revealed. So what are the chances that there's a second Evo chamber in the main base? Quite low. Like, I love this from YoungYakov. He is setting up for 2-base Roach. We have a Roach Warren on the way as well to fully wall, sorry, a Bailey Nest on the way. Roach Warren on the way to fully wall off. Meanwhile, a Bailey Nest is hidden in the main. He is selling a story. He is giving Dark so much false information with this wall. He starts at +1 range. Let's go. When really YoungYakov hasn't been droning. He is amassing lings here in between his main and his natural. He's getting ready to pull the trigger. We can see here, +1 and ling speed about to finish up at the same time. Meanwhile, across the map, Dark is setting up for a Roach Ling flood. +1 carapace does lend really well to Roach Ling, but it takes a little bit longer to really get going, as the Roach Warren just now gets thrown down. And here we go, the lings have been revealed. YoungYakov is going to be sending everything he has across the map. The Bailey Nest is done, so we can also morph in Bailings aggressively. And Dark, I think he's going to lose the third base. I think there's no way for him to save it, but this natural is going to be harder to break. All right, here we go, the lings are headed towards the natural. I mean, to be fair, YoungYakov, he can't just be content with the third base. He has to try to straight up end the game. The lings are trying to bust on forward, but no, Dark, he holds for now, but the Bailings have arrived. The Bailings are here. Again, YoungYakov is all in with this. He has to end the game with this push. The Bailings, they do detonate with the lings of Dark. Not too bad connections. Boys, they're going to be able to zone him away, but there are so many more lings behind this. YoungYakov is running out of steam. The queen is about to go down, but we have a secondary wall behind it. Oh, the wall! The wall doesn't finish. The lings, they break on forward. Oh god! The Bailings are looking for the connections. The Roaches are coming out. And we do connect with the lings of Dark. He loses everything, and he's now only down to Roaches. The Roach Warren is going to fall. Boys are being pulled. YoungYakov, it looks like he's breaking through. 3 Roaches are all that stands between YoungYakov and that natural base. Another Roach gets surrounded. Bailings are on the way. And it looks like they should finish. YoungYakov, he's doing it! He gets us surrounded the Roaches. The Bailings are rolling on forward as well, but we have so many more Roaches where that came from. It looks like YoungYakov is forced back. The third base is still very vulnerable, and he should still be able to get a kill on that. Ooh, meanwhile, we have to be very careful with these Bailings. We don't want to waste them, as we're going to be setting up for another surround. Bailings roll on forward, but we're trading efficiently. But we're not breaking through. Dark is holding YoungYakov. He throws down the third base behind this. He's still not droning, by the way. YoungYakov is still making nothing but lings. Dark re-walling, throwing down a backup Roach Warren. Or his Roach Warren was killed earlier. Bear that in mind. It was so clutch that Dark was able to make, what, 8 Roaches in time. Just before the Roach Warren died. We have another surround. The Bailings roll on forward. Decent connections here once again. Up. Oh, we end up detonating the Bailings on the Roaches, which isn't ideal. But the Bailings, they break into the natural. The Ravager goes down. The Roach Warren has been rebuilt, so more Roaches are on the way. We're barely breaking through, Papi, barely. Oh god, the walling, by the way, the Ravager morph as well, so clutch from Dark. He's microing his heart out right now as best he can. As we are still just flooding roaches across the map. We're trying to get what we can. It looks like Dark may be able to hold on to his natural once again. And YoungYakov is forced back. Gonna be trying to focus down that third base. Gonna be luring Dark out into the open once again. He's desperately trying to go for the surround, but the terrain is working against YoungYakov. He should get a kill in this third, which is good. We still need a little bit more. And YoungYakov backs off. He has roach production on the way. He's taken a second gas geyser as well. He hasn't saturated it yet, and he needs to. He's lacking gas. Oh, and there it is. GG gets called. Oh, Dark taps out. He's down in workers, down in bases, and YoungYakov with the upset takes game 3 and the series. Let's go. Oh my god. GG, well played. That was so close. Like, Dark, how many? He got like 8 or 9 roaches just before his roach warren died as well. He was surviving off of nothing but that. The morphs of the Ravagers as well to just create like surface area to keep his own queens alive as well. Like, Dark was just microing his heart out towards the end, but it was not enough. The bathing connections were just too good. Not just that, the story that was being sold. YoungYakov did such a great job at hiding his build, at showing the roach warren, showing the researching evo chamber at the wall as well, at just keeping Dark in the dark, just keeping him unawares as to what YoungYakov was really doing. GG, Papi. GG, well played. Congratulations to YoungYakov for taking the series and taking down Dark in a massive upset. Moving on in the bracket. My god. Imagine being able to say you beat Dark at best of 3 in a ZvZ. True. Let's go. And I want to quickly check the bracket as well. I want to quickly confirm on the brackets. Who is YoungYakov facing next? That's what I want to know. Hold on. Un momento, papi. Un momento. Interact. Okay, so exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourself. MaxPax moved on to face Hon Mono earlier. If we scroll down a little bit here, there it is. YoungYakov 2-1's Dark, and he moves on to face Geralt in the next round. Oh boy, Dark obviously the more terrifying player, and depending on how YoungYakov does, he could move on to face Solar, the other Korean Zerg player. Solar's also in that portion of the bracket, so it doesn't get easier, but regardless, a really strong result here from YoungYakov. Very well done. GG.